Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Twitters in the world, you are streaming here on Twitter, as well as those of you on YouTube. Monday, Q&A with Wob. What's happening? 3:17 p.m. Pacific time. Light night in the association. I can't imagine there's going to be much to look forward to in the stream in regards to finding value, especially with Jaylen Brown out. We'll look at Giannis in just a second. But it is Monday, getting us into the cadence of these shows every Monday, Wednesday, Friday has become part of my routine as I come off the tennis court today. It's about 71. Can't see a cloud in the entire horizon. I didn't get to go in the jacuzzi because I have to come up here and do the show, but that is not a complaint. I just go straight from the tennis court to the shower, look presentable, and come join you guys here in the chat all the way up until tip-off of tonight's games. What's up, chat? I see you guys in there. Noti Gang, what's happening, Jake? G. Chapman is asking, right off the bat, the world needs to know if Wob is anti-Magic City night. No, I will not be joining Luke Cornett down this street. Does he know what he caused? He just gave ESPN every podcast that doesn't talk about actual games. He just gave 2 to 3 days worth of content to every creator, influencer, or mainstream sports show with his very, authentic words that he put in this blog post. For those of you that missed it, Luke Cornett, of all people, the founding partner of the Cornett Contest, and quite honestly, one of the whitest guys in the NBA. He not only looks white, he plays white, he acts white, is speaking on Magic City, which, how do I put this politely? There is certain business that people like Luke Cornett perhaps should keep them. I don't want to say he should keep his thoughts to himself and shut the hell up, but he's going to be met with resistance when you are not particularly an expert on the matter. And if those of you that don't know what Magic City is, it is an establishment that serves wings, but also employs, how do I put this politely, night ballerinas to dance and perform while you eat your wings. It is a foundational staple in the city of Atlanta. It is very frequently visited. It has a reputation amongst its citizens. It is a business which I assume pays its taxes. There's nothing wrong with that. But since it's in the sex selling business, Luke Cornett has decided to pen some thoughts about the integrity of the NBA. We should not be using NBA games to promote strip clubs, to protect the perception of the women that have helped build this galactic multi-billion-dollar business known as the NBA. And I'm sure he means well with his intentions. I don't think he was malicious nor out of pocket with anything that was said in that blog post. But he's a little out of bounds on this one. The original question was asking for my opinion on Magic City. No, I'm very pro Magic City, not because I've been, but clearly the citizens and residents support Magic City. And it is an important branding staple of that part of Atlanta. And they want to associate themselves with the Atlanta Hawks. So be it. Like if and when the Las Vegas gets an NBA team, I have to imagine that Seamless, Sapphire, even the Bunny Ranch are going to be doing local in-arena advertising with the NBA team there. Do they do it already with the Golden Knights? I have to think that they'd be taking on local strip clubs as advertisers because they have money to spend and promote, and they're a legal business. It's not that big a deal to me, but people are going to make this a big deal because, one, it's the NBA, which is already naturally political. The demographics of the NBA skews to a younger audience as well. It is very popular in the major cities as opposed to the flyover states. You add all of that up, and you're going to get a shitstorm of bad actors using this story to now spin this into, why can't Luke Cornett voice his opinion on such matters? Is he not a person too? Some dumbass is going to say, doesn't his life matter too? And then it's just completely gone. The joke is dead. So just be prepared for those bad actor conversations to develop. Chat is saying that Luke Cornett is a Bible Belt boomer. I mean, I want one of those. I would never wear it, but I want one of the Magic City sweatshirts. You know what? Actually, I would wear it. I would wear it in cities not Atlanta. What's happening, everybody? Hellwick, MCC, everyone's here. Andrew says, taking a quick break from podcasts, talking about the industry finale. How'd you like the episode and the season? I loved it. I'm highly intrigued to see how it translates to season 5. So I don't want to spoil for people that haven't watched yet. Even one of my best friends that I communicate with about this show hasn't even gotten to it, and he was saving it for tonight. But I will say, all I'll say is it was very good as season 3, which is very difficult. Looking forward to season 5. And I can't believe they somehow incorporated a Ghislaine Maxwell storyline to this, but they did it in their fucking industry. Luke Cornett got a 34 on his ACTs. Hellwick, I don't think that you're joking. I think that's a statement of fact from you. Logan says, great chase last night. That was a fun one. She was busting ass getting down that alleyway. Right. Yeah. The shut up and dribble crowd will be out and about once. This was the Magic City. I was cracking jokes about it too. When they announced that, it's meant to be like fun, newsworthy. Most people know what Magic City is. I was cracking jokes about first 2,000 people through the door get a free dance voucher. And I was hoping they made those sweatshirts in kid sizes. It's all part of like making a joke about something that's obviously trying to draw attention. They did a great job on it, but eventually it's going to get into the wrong hands. And now that Luke Cornett has passionately stood against such a, it's so funny what people will get riled up about, myself included. There are so many more things in this planet that could have been a better use of your time and effort than penning a blog in the year 2026, because none of these kids read anything. No one's clicking a blog link. Putting your thoughts on the paper about a strip club. It's just such a 2015 thing to do. Stand against it, and here's why. Luke Cornett. I could not pick a more, if I could generate the most random NBA headline in the world where it goes player name, topic, and event. The randomizer picks Luke Cornett, second, it's spinning. This is the lottery ball spinning in the Luke Cornett, blog, event, Magic City, Atlanta Hawks partnership. You couldn't, it's so random. Someone in the chat said, shut up and contest, Luke. That is good. Instead of shut up and dribble, shut up and contest. Do the Cornett contest, Luke. Headband Luca says Luke Cornett has never gotten a lap dance, and it shows. Andrew says, we've all seen Luke Cornett play. His game is anti-women. It dries up all the ladies watching. There's got to be some sicko out there, some woman who's in NBA Twitter that just fantasizes about the Cornett contest, where he's just standing on the block, jumping up, thinking that I'm going to be blocking your vision of the rim, and that's going to influence your shot. Stop it. I know some sicko out there gets off the Cornett contests, like people with their fetishes on porn sites. Isn't the Bunny Ranch in Yeah, it's outside of Clark County. It's about, 2 hours north? What's my opinion on the post-Mark Cuban era of Shark Tank, asks Max. Yeah, it's honestly not as good. It's just I don't like the rotating chairs of judges. To me, Shark Tank is Barbara, Mark, O'Leary, Lori, and Robert. Those are the Iron Five of Shark Tank. When they start bringing in the Reddit guy, Kendra Scott, they're all like too polite, and O'Leary is Simon Cowell. He's a character. Cuban was a character. Lori's supposed to be the nice, always complimentary, positive reinforcement. Barbara's your realist with war stories. Great collection of different personalities. And then all the new people just try and fit in. Strahan, the kind guy, the kind energy bar guy. They're all so like made for TV. Ugh. It's boring. You know what pisses me off about Shark Tank too? They always show you in between pitches. They show you the success stories. Like before Shark Tank, we were this. After we've done $10 million in sales. I know of a lot of Shark Tank companies that ended up in failure, even with the Sharks' support. I want to hear those stories too. It's starting to feel like propaganda. I don't like that. G. Chapman says, where do the Blazers go from here? We got action tonight, by the way. Shout out to our partners at Profit X. 4 games on the slate. I'm headed out to dinner. That's what I think of this slate tonight. I will not be watching. I will bring Mrs. Watt back if there is a police chase, but not for basketball. This is get away from basketball type of night. Rockets, Wizards, KD's homecoming. Who cares? Celtics, Bucks. Giannis will be back for 15 minutes, and Jalen's not even playing. What do they have? Giannis is over 20 and a half. So Giannis is going to play between 20 and 25 minutes, I'd assume. Yeah, kind of like the over there. Oh, well, the liquidity just dried up. So what else is on the docket here? Nuggets, Jazz. Cam Johnson probably needs the night off. That's why he's out. And Clippers, Warriors with Darius Garland's debut. Whoop-de-doo. And the Warriors are terrible. Where do we stand on that trade, by the way? After all those years of not using Kuminga correctly, and then you move him for Kristaps Porzingis, who honestly might have to retire if this illness thing keeps going on. They gave up Kuminga for practically nothing. They could have sold him at the peak of his rookie contract for potential. They could have had their own Sabonis for Halliburton trade, and they just got nothing from it. And now he's balling in Atlanta. I wonder why that didn't work out. Did it not work out because Kuminga always thought, I need to be able to spread my wings and fly a little bit? But the Golden State Warriors are that one outlier of a system in which you have to transform yourself to fit into the shape of that offense. There's a lot of the ball being moved around, a lot of pin down screens. You're not just demanding the basketball and going one-on-one in that offense. And Kuminga, I think at times just wants to get the ball and say, hey, let me attack the rim, not have to do some dribble handoff, run around the court, come off of a pin down or elevator door screen, waiting for Steph Curry to do something. We watched Andrew Wiggins transform himself, and he was a necessary part of that 2022 Warriors team that won the title, leading the finals in rebounding. He was a 3-and-D glass crasher from his days in Minnesota, where he was filling up the box score with high usage and individual isolation play. I did not answer your question, G. Chapman, originally, which was, where do the Blazers go from here? Where they go from here, first of all, is you tank the rest of this season to make sure you keep your pick. The young talent isn't developing and struggles to stay healthy. So Denny's been hurt, but a lot of this, I think, is the Blazers seeing the big picture that they should tank. So they will be added to the tank category to make sure that they keep their lottery protected pick, if I'm not mistaken. We could look it up on Tankathon. I'm pretty sure it's lottery protected. One through 14. Yes. Okay. So yeah, that's the answer. Scoot Henderson, unfortunately, not looking all that great. Shaedon Sharpe's hurt. He's hurt a lot. He's also a guy that relies so much on his verticality and athleticism. I don't know how long that's going to last if you're on the bench for half the season. Robert Williams III hurt a lot. Klingen's fine. Jan Hansen hasn't been in the rotation. They're just kind of stuck. They're like West Coast Bulls. What's up, Shaedon? Logan asks, has a chase ever gotten to my neighborhood? Oh, yeah, I've seen chases before. Jake is in the chat, asks, should Miami, the real Magic City, do a collab with Liv? You know what they should do? This is very important, and this is for NBA League Pass sickos only. Have you guys noticed how many different NBA teams, game presentation staffs, have copied swag surfing from the Miami Heat? It's Atlanta was number 2, and now Charlotte does it. I saw a Wizards game doing it to start the 4th. Why is everyone doing swag surfing? Miami should be pissed. That was their thing for a while. So they should get Atlanta back for copying them by stealing Magic City. Yeah, I'm with you. Kiss My Nike in the chat says Lou Williams will have courtside tickets with 10 of lemon pepper all flats. I thought when I was reading that you were going to say 10 of his clients, his friends. Doesn't he has his jersey retired inside of Magic City, right? Does James Harden too? When Big Luke gets involved, you know it's serious. The San Antonio Spurs are second in the West. This is a team devoid of distraction. Victor Wembanyama has them focused on hoop. They are building chemistry as a unit. I know they just got dusted by the Knicks, but that team this is a quintessential Spurs team that is thriving with Spurs culture, and that usually is limiting the off-court distractions. And now Luke Cornett, of all people, starts mixing it up in the internet mud. This whole Juan in the chat is saying this whole PR action was a Cornett contest. Yeah. An attempt at blocking someone's shot by influencing their vision. I can leave an impact on this topic. What was he thinking when he hit publish? I'm going to defend the honor of women in the NBA. When have they ever associated themselves with Magic City? And you think Magic City is the only strip club in America? They're definitely not the first strip club to have sponsored an NBA game, or at least inside of the arena. This same Atlanta Hawks team, do you guys remember Tinder Night from 2015? They opened up a suite for people to swipe right, and then meet in the suite if you could show you matched with someone in the arena. They turned that place into a brothel. Look it up. It was from like 2015, 2017. They had Tinder Night. That's a lot worse than having a strip club sponsor a promotion. They also did the Hawks OnlyFans things once. Remember that video? I mean, Helwick would remember this, where they did this very scandalous type of video, making it look like the Harry the Hawk was getting naked under the bed sheets. Click here for OnlyFans or Only Hawks fans. They've always been like this. That's why it's not that big a deal, man. His blog is actually very good, and you're a regular reader. That does not surprise me. Helwick, what does he even write about? Oh, another good question. You guys are bringing the heat in the chat. What's the Mount Rushmore of Knicks celebrity row? So Mount Rushmore is 4. Spike. I got to really think about this. I can't include ex-players, I don't think. The most Knicks regulars: Spike, Stiller, as like Tracy Morgan. I got to really dedicate these spots to someone that deserves it. For now, I will tentatively say Spike, Stiller, Falco, Chris Rock? It's a tough one because Bobby Bacala should be in there, man. Bobby Bacala should be there. He is so consistent. And so yesterday's game against the Spurs, and that question allows me the opportunity to answer this properly. Those of you that don't know, Knicks Celebrity Row is mostly who has their feet on the wood courtside. They take the players and they put them underneath the hoops. That's where Carmelo and Marbury and Patrick Ewing and John Starks, they mostly sit in the corner. Celebrity Row is sideline, feet on the wood. And now that it's March 1st, all the celebrities are starting to show up because the Garden takes notes on who attends the games throughout the year. That's why Bobby Bacala sometimes has feet on the wood. Sometimes he's in row 4 because he's not a big enough celebrity to just show up. If it's Larry David, I'm here for the next game. Give me tickets now. He will get them. Same with Chris Rock. But someone like Bobby Bacala needs to show up against the Jazz and the Wizards and all the bad teams on Tuesdays and Wednesdays in November and December so that the Knicks remain a popular destination for celebrities. They require those B-list and C-list, like major influencers. They end up on the Madison Square Garden Jumbotron. Like, let's see the stars of the game, because James Dolan is always Mr. There needs to be stars here every single night. And it's very important that the Knicks remain the coolest team. So they take notes on who shows and who doesn't. So when you start asking for playoff tickets, the hierarchy of who gets feet on the wood and who doesn't tells you everything you need to know about who is in James Dolan's inner circle. That's why Edie Falco, on the episode I did with Pablo Torre on Pablo Torre Finds Out, why Edie Falco and James Gandolfini, at the height of The Sopranos, were doing the pitch video for LeBron, Bosh, and Wade because he tapped him and said, "We need celebrity influence. We're making this video." As a result, Edie Falco is always treated like royalty despite her celebrity status too. It's just very fascinating to see which celebrities still matter, but are not in the good graces of James Dolan, and then who James Dolan determines is a C-lister. They get row 2, row 3. They could sit in the crowd. Keep an eye on that. It's a temperature of which celebrities matter. Did I see the stat that Cam Thomas doesn't have a single steal since November 3rd, 52 straight games? No, I did not. You guys are bringing it today. Cam Thomas, man, he'll have a game where he erupts. The debut game with the Bucks, he had a 3.5-minute mixtape of all of his incredible shots, and then he has 4 J.R. Smith, Dion Waiters, Swaggy P games where he can't hit water if he fell out of a boat. That's the Cam Thomas experience. Yesterday, Wolves-Nuggets was the only real game out of 11. Yeah. It was fun watching Westbrook be petty. Every time he plays the Lakers, he loves nothing more than just talking shit and laughing at Reeves and Luka at the line. Doesn't even care what the scoreboard says. That he's a former MVP. He walks with this bravado, and he's always got it out for the Lakers. Texas 2023 in the chat says, Rob, every champion team needs a Lou. I assume you mean Lou Dort. Everyone has to stop saying he's a dirty player. I think it's fine to say that he's a dirty player because every championship needs someone who's willing to do the dirty work. Bill Laimbeer, Dennis Rodman, Draymond Green, Bruce Bowen, Lou Dort. I don't think he's as malicious as some of those other guys, but now he's been stamped. He's been tagged by referees. And considering that flagrant fouls are subjective decisions, they have to determine, the referees at the monitor, if it was an act with intention and malice. And when you carry a reputation, they get to that conclusion a little bit quicker than someone who this is their first offense of a flagrant foul. Susie Essman is always at the Knicks games, and she finally brought Larry back. Yeah, Larry shows up occasionally. He shows up to more Laker games. He's not a Knicks Mount Rushmore guy. Tracy Morgan and Fat Joe were kind of on my second team, but it's got to be Spike, Chris Rock, Falco, and Stiller. But you see John Starks there a lot. Allen Houston's obviously still working with the team. Stephon Marbury. Yeah, well, Chalamet's a big Knicks fan, but he's not there. He's not in attendance enough to make a Mount Rushmore. No. Everyone in the chat wants to know if I'm grabbing a Magic City Hawks hoodie. I have connections to the Hawks. I could pull off a Magic City hoodie. Yes. One of my agents' family members is way up there at the Hawks. Bobby Bacalieri. Do you guys ever, like, my YouTube algorithm is so on point that sometimes I'll just be bored for like 10 minutes and it knows to send me one Sopranos clip, one Breaking Bad clip, one Game of Thrones clip, and you spend like 5 minutes just burning through a couple of shorts, and then you go on with your day. That's how I procrastinate. Kev says, just make sure your lady won't give a shit. She doesn't even, no clue what Magic City is. She has been watching NBA games with me and rooting for the teams whose mascot, she's really into mascots. The cuter the mascot, the more she will support that team. She only wants to watch. This is kind of the shit that I talk about, by the way. How many people are on this planet that the NBA is trying to appeal to? The percentage of them that have a knowledge or desire to be actual hoops junkies, meaning being taught the game in a way that gets them to expert level knowledge of basketball. Most fans just want to sit there and be entertained one way or another. And in this particular example, someone who only cares about the commercials because we get to see Benny the Bull do one of his skits, she's willing to sit there and watch a game for 2.5 hours just for those moments, and then she'll go back to her phone. The NBA has to keep those people in mind, because despite NBA Twitter telling you we want content of people breaking down the game, like not everyone does. I promise you this. This is how I pay the bills. There's a market for it. There's certainly, and there's a growing market for it. This is what I fear, though, with the overcorrection that has taken place with Amazon, the new NBA TV show, The Association. ESPN has overcorrected, where they will send their talent onto some digital floor and they'll run through like a horn set of some kind. And if I am someone that is coming off of football, that is very low-hanging fruit type of basketball watcher, this is going straight over my head. There's a market for it in smaller doses, but for the overcorrection, I just can't get there that this is something that the masses want. She likes the Coyote, yeah. No, she doesn't like Gee Whiz because it's a creature. The pecking order, as I understand, she has mammals and then creatures. So if you're a mammal, you get preference in this house. And the game that goes on the main TV is depending on the cuteness of the mascot. Like Crunch, the Timberwolf, very big. Clutch, the bear. Rocky, Benny. Any other questions? Get me off this topic. You can ask actual basketball questions too. Shall we look ahead to the games tonight? Boy, can't wait. Can't wait for Nuggets Jazz. It's also so annoying because I've been trying to hit the live unders on the Jazz, but they're so sharp. The lines are so sharp that they have it factored in real time, like when Keontae George is going to come off the floor. Previously, Lauri Markkanen, they know he's coming off at the end of the third. So a live point total over under, if let's say Lauri has 20 points scored, they'll make it 22.5 for the entirety of the third quarter. And if he scores, they'll just keep upping it by 2.5, 2.5, 2.5. So you can never book it. And then you know he's coming out 10 seconds later. It's so sharp, man. I've been sitting there trying to, because I know exactly what the Jazz and some of these other teams that have been benching starters for the fourth quarter, they know it too. There's been no market softness whatsoever. Have I talked about JJ and Luka? What am I missing there? Does Cam Johnson break out of this slump in time for the playoffs yet? I mean, Nuggets fans are justifiably displeased with his performance from a couple of bad ones in a row, but he hasn't had a terrible season. He's been struggling as of late, but not everyone can just make every three that they take. I know I also don't want to hear we regret the Michael Porter Jr. trade, considering how much money he made and the lack of flexibility that the Denver Nuggets had. They had no optionality around that roster. They just were too far into the aprons. I didn't. What? They argued and Vando broke it up? No, that just had to be some timeout argument about. Was it during the Kings game when they were up by 1,000 points? That could just be basketball related. JJ Redick is super passionate too, obsessive. So it wouldn't surprise me to see him challenge Luka. Yeah, and also if Aaron Gordon comes back, that changes everything. The Nuggets look a little dull at the moment, but Aaron Gordon has always been their most important player outside of Jokic. He was lights out from those knockdown corner threes. He's an absolute bull, rebounding guard positions 1 through 5. Yeah. If they get healthy with Aaron Gordon at some point, they're still going to be one of the 4 teams in the West. Is it 4? It's OKC, San Antonio, Denver. Yeah, it's 3. They're still in that category, but they're 3rd right now. And then it falls to Minnesota, Houston, the Lakers, some of these flawed teams. I might be missing someone. Golden State, Clippers, no. Suns, no. I was thinking about taking the Miami Heat. Do we have division odds up here? Prophet X, are you in the chat? I'm looking for NBA division odds because the Miami Heat were they were 2-1. And I do think they're going to win that division because it's so bad and the Magic are so bad. Hornets, I guess. I mean, they've had such an easy schedule. The Hawks are just so mid. By her mascot logic, she'll be a big fan of Ramesses. Absolutely. Ramesses is a cute mascot. And there's an actual animal version of Ramesses. Wab, do you know it's a full moon eclipse in your sign tonight? Can you speak English, please? What does that mean? I know there's a lunar eclipse here in Los Angeles. It's going to start at 12:30 a.m. and it goes until about 6. The moon is going to be red. So that's when the Earth's shadow casts onto the moon, right? My sign is, I'm a Virgo. What does that have to do with my sign? What's for dinner? I think I'm going to go get Mexican food at some point. Man, this is as boring of a night. And tomorrow, you saw the shit that the Thunder tomorrow benching everybody because they're getting ready for the game against the Knicks at the Garden. And the Knicks have to play in Toronto and then back to back against OKC, who's load managing. Can I ask a question, by the way? If Detroit ends up finishing with the NBA, not just the Eastern Conference, but the NBA's best record, Isn't that enough for Cade Cunningham to win MVP, considering this dude is just elite every single night? Like, what more would he have to do to win MVP? I don't think he would or he will, but I'm asking, what more does he need to do? He's had performances where the entire team is out. He scores 40 points. He takes 40 shots. I don't know. You get superpowers probably. The moon is in Virgo right now. I don't know what that means. What does it mean that the moon is in Virgo? English, please. Well, what's going to happen is people are going to not vote Cade MVP, but Bickerstaff is going to win Coach of the Year, even though I have Missoula personally. It's going to end up being Bickerstaff if they have the best record. So with the MVP voting, this might be a good opportunity actually to do the straw poll, show the straw poll. This is not just you place a ballot for who should win MVP. You have to vote 1 through 5. ESPN straw poll MVP. Okay, so this straw poll was taken before Cade Cunningham went bonkers, berserk at Madison Square Garden. Hold on. Almost there. Okay. Why won't it let me zoom? Okay. You're just going to have to deal with this. Okay. So this was, again, Cade probably, his score would have gone up after that game at the Garden. But there are 18 Nikola Jokic first place voters, which to me suggests that those 18 people are going to vote for Nikola Jokic no matter what. If that's what you determined, him coming off an injury, that Jokic is still a first place, this is not a case where Cade can siphon away some first place votes from Jokic. Those are hardline Jokic voters. He could probably get some second place votes from Jokic, but that will not equate to enough points to beat out Shai. Because if someone drops their first place Shai vote, I feel like it's going to go to Jokic instead of Cade. And then you got Wemby. With the voting so fractured, this is relatively close compared to years past. With the vote so fractured, I just don't know if voters move from one player the same way a candidate will withdraw their name from the running for president or for senator, right? And I'm going to throw my support behind candidate XYZ. All of those voters, they do that because those voters are supposed to now fall into line and provide support for the more likely candidate to win. So if you remove those Nikola Jokic second place votes, do they become Cade Cunningham first place votes? Is there, even then, if you took 60 of the 65 and added it to Cade, it wouldn't be enough because then Shai would be getting different second and third numbers. So to me, long story short, Shai is going to win the MVP again if he qualifies. Yeah, Kawhi's on this list, man. Need you to give Keldon Johnson some love for six man. That is actually the guy that I am not supporting for six man. For me, it goes Jaquez, Naz Reid, Keldon. And Keldon's had some rough games lately, too. I understand the concept of Keldon Johnson for six man, but Jaquez has been considerably better. He does a lot more. It's not just a catch and shoot guy. He can also rebound as well as Keldon has. Naz Reid has been there with his scoring and three-point shooting accuracy. He also provides rim protection and rebounding, but for me, it's Jaquez at the moment. He's been a point guard. He's been a floor general. He's been a high usage guy. He's been a distributor. He runs that second unit for Miami. Don't question it. Just let it placebo you into believing good things will happen. Okay. I did not score well on my SAT verbal back in the day, so you're going to have to speak English, another dialect of English, please. I got a perfect score on math, but verbal, I think I got like a 570. So 800 on math, and it might have been a 530. Yeah, I was terrible, man. I tried so hard too. Thank you. Danny, you are able to articulate my point on Keldon better than I did. The idea of Keldon Johnson does a lot more for his case in context, yes. Because he does have positive influence and impact on the game. He just doesn't have the actual production numbers to back it up. But yes, him being out there, he's a winning basketball player. And I appreciate how he's transformed his game to fit what the San Antonio Spurs need. This was a guy who probably thought a couple of years ago, I'm going to be the guy here. I'm on Team USA. I should be getting superstar contracts, running offense around me. And instead, he's taken a six-man role where he's never going to make as much. His playing time's been cut in half. Sorry. Speaking of six-man, asks MCC, are we ever going to hear from Malik Beasley again? Who do we see in the NBA first, Terry Rozier or Malik Beasley? I bet Malik Beasley, but it's going to be a while. All-time bag fumble, by the way. That money went to Duncan Robinson when Malik was killing it last year. He was one of the best knockdown three-point shooters in the world, in high volume too. And man, did he get replaced by someone that can replicate his work. I'm doing great verbally. Thank you. I am able to articulate my points decently. But doing a lot of radio too, the difference between a stream like this and radio is it's just much more natural to take breaks. You can allow dead airs. You read some comments. You can scratch yourself. And radio, man, no, they can't see you. It's a much more traditional, structured layout. And you have to, people will pick up on the flow and cadence of your words. You don't want to sound like a robot or monotone. You also don't want to talk too fast. Right? I enjoy the challenge of doing it. And I have a great partner who supplements or complements my style with his own. But man, doing those solo shows, like post-game shows, those are hard. You just have to keep talking and talking and talking, and you have to continue the energy, because in radio, the average listener is roughly 7 minutes. And that's because people are in the car going from one place to another, and then they turn the car and they get off, they get out and go. So you always have to be rebooting segments as if someone is brand new, just trying to find out what happened without losing the people who are listening longer. It's an art form. It's difficult for sure. And I have a new appreciation for solo hosts who are able to do this shit for 3 hours every day by themselves, doing it for an hour and a half to 2 hours with something to react to in a post-game show, like if a final buzzer just sounds and it was a crazy game, those are easy because the material has been created for you. But the solo guys, morning show for 3 hours when the emotion of the moment has worn off, oh, that's difficult. Remind me, Helwick, what was the Malik Beasley celebration? Oh, the wiggle. Did he do the little this? They should do a bobblehead with him, but it goes horizontal instead of this way. In radio, you don't have to chat rage baiting you over the term pog. Well, I just didn't know what a pog was because for me, growing up in the 90s, pogs were the most popular toy. And then when the chat kept saying, no, pog is something different, and then you make me look up what a pog is. Oh, I get it now. Yeah, pogs with slammers. You would play against other people. You'd take their slammers. That was a fun game. Color commentating, it seems hard, but I'm sure you get used to it. I will say any media job in which you have the luxury of a co-host or a partner makes it so much easier. And as the moment that there's more than one person on the microphone, it goes from storytelling and information to chemistry. You could be the two sharpest minds on the topic that you are discussing. If you and your co-host do not have chemistry, it won't work. You can reveal the most proprietary, interesting information on the topic possible. If you and your partner don't gel, people will give up on it. Which is why I love doing it with Antonio specifically, because I get to mess with him and we're on the same page all the time. I'm currently in the middle of this bit with him right now, and he gets so mad. And I love torturing him because we're a national radio show. I'm very adamant on being objective. As a host, I'm trying to present topics, right, that are newsworthy, relevant, and then prioritized based on like, how do you lead off a show? It's going to be the obvious topic, right? The one that everyone wants answers on. And every time the Knicks win, I lead off the show with the Knicks game. And he's so sick of it because I don't lead off with the Knicks game when the Knicks lose. And he continues to call out my bias as I'm trying to do a radio show where I'm like, no, this is someone's first time listening to this channel, turning on 86 in the car. And it's our duty as national. We're not New Orleans Pelicans radio hosts. Covering the national NBA requires us to speak on the most relevant topics, and that is the New York Knicks. And I thought he was going to quit. He was going to throw his computer out the window today because I refuse to acknowledge my bias. Stoney says, I wonder if Garland's dad will be there for his son's Clips debut tonight. He played 2 seasons for them. Not bad. What else you guys got? Give me a couple minutes or so, and then we'll go watch these incredibly. Oh, the Rockets and the Wizards just tipped off. Maybe Kevin Durant will do something. See, the problem is, like, KD's been back in D.C. how many times now? 15, 16? Well, even more than that because he played with the Nets in the Eastern Conference. So his homecoming game doesn't mean anything. And because the Wizards are so bad, KD's only going to be on the floor for an hour and a half. Yes, I answered that question, Logan, that a Chase has ever come close to my. Yeah, I've seen them in person plenty here in LA. Barbie says, it sounds like Kenny on Inside the NBA. They say he's a homer, but I think his Knicks analysis is sound. Thank you. These undocumented, untrue, unfounded allegations against me is harmful. I start off shows only with the Knicks when they win, never when they lose. How dare you, sir? How dare you question my objectivity and priority in leading a show? What's best for the channel and the program versus my own personal preference. How dare they? How do I think Trey will look in his debut? For 15 minutes, probably dribble around a little bit, get up some threes, and get blown by on defense. It'll be like another day ending in Y. Yeah, the Hornets have been entertaining. They've also enjoyed easy schedule, man. Celtics, Bucks, oh God, Nuggets, Jazz. Thank God I am going out. I'm done. No hoops tonight, or I'll watch for a little bit. But as soon as that sun gets near beach sunset time, I'm going to the beach. If something crazy happens, I'll put it on my phone. It's a good night for me to get out. It's gorgeous outside. I got a nice glow going too. Sun, haircut, salt and peppers, perfect blending. Wish I could keep this forever. It's going to turn all salt at some point. You become more humble with age, as you can tell. Before we go, what's up, Punk? It says, best first round matchup for the Knicks. It's either going to be Philly, I'd say Toronto. Realistic opponent, Toronto. Toronto or the Magic. Honestly, any of them. The 76ers will be a bit more of a battle because of Maxey, but none of those teams scare me. None of those teams scare me. It's going to be Knicks Pistons at some point. We'll see what happens. I'm hoping Tatum doesn't come back, not because I want the Knicks to do well. I fear it's just too soon. But he's got really skilled, trusted doctors that clearly have him near game shape. So it's going to mess with the chemistry. Jaylen Brown's usage is going to go down. And then he has a couple of bad games. You only get one chance to make a first impression. Then what? Then the Boston fans are going to turn on him because Jaylen Brown is no longer the MVP candidate. That's a rough look. He's got to be thinking about that. If he sucks early and it's a struggle, like the fans are going to turn on him and say, man, you messed up our great season. I wonder if he would have potentially came back if the Celtics were in the play-in tournament, if they were 8th seed, 9th seed with no real ambition to win a championship, but they are fucking good. This is the team they thought they probably had last year. How's the UV? Well, it's February or March, so it's not crazy yet, but you can still get a sunburn. I'm tan. Like, this is you see the difference? You got a nice tan going. All right. Oh, Miami. Well, then I shouldn't bet Miami to win the division. They got an easy schedule. They got back-to-back games coming up against the Nets. So you got to figure that's 2 wins. I've been looking into their schedule because I want to bet them to win the division at 2-1. but you can get the Hawks at 9-1. Are they ever just going to figure it out? I'm going to sign off, chat. Be back with you guys on Wednesday. Hopefully we have some more hoops to actually discuss and not a boring 4-game slate. But until then, GG's in the chat. If you wouldn't mind hitting the like button, the retweet button on your way out, it would be greatly appreciated. But Monday, Wednesday, Friday, eventually we're going to be turning this pre-game stream over into something else because there's no point in doing it in the playoffs. It'll become a post-game show. And I think ProfitX has some ideas for some other stuff we may do instead. But I enjoy kicking it with you guys. So one way or another, we'll still incorporate this type of stream into the content we're doing as the playoffs approach. But until then, adios.